Good afternoon, I'm Brian Poe from Poe's Kitchen at the Rattlesnake. Today we're going to make one of my favorite dishes. It's cornbread. So it's become quite a hit on the roof deck this year, and we'll share a couple of secrets with you. We start out with some butter at room temperature, and then we have masa harina, which is actually the secret to our cornbread. It's a Mexican flour that's used in lieu of regular flour. It's made from roasting field corn and lime, and then they puree it down into the powder. We've added baking powder to this as well. The other secret to this as we go along is going to be that you're going to want to cream the butter and the sugar. So what happens when you cream the butter and sugar, it gives it that airiness, and then you add the masa harina and it makes it more like cornbread cake, if you will. So what we'll do is we'll get started. We have the KitchenAid mixer all set up. I'll go ahead and rake the butter into the bowl there. Raking is probably not the word, but put the butter in. And then we're going to go ahead and turn that on. It's going to get a little noisy as we go along here. We'll go ahead and turn that on. We're going to bring it up just a little and start it on a very low speed so that it begins to mix in. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and begin to add the sugar. And again, we're creaming this, so that this has to be nice and light and fluffy before we add everything else to it. The sugar is going to combine with the butter, and it will become almost like a frosting as it continues to go there. So I'm going to turn the speed back up just a little bit and let that go for a couple of minutes. About halfway through, we're going to go ahead and scrape the butter back down so that everything gets good and mixed up. And we're going to get it off that paddle. And then we're going to turn it back up again. And it's getting just the right airiness that we'd like. So we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of our dry ingredients and let that begin to incorporate into it. And this is the masa harina already mixed with the baking powder, and it will make a little mess on the floor. So we're going to go ahead and put that in, and we're going to whip that again. Start low, because it'll do exactly that. And now we're going to begin to add a few of our eggs. And you want to be very careful at the rate in which you add those, just so you don't get it all over the kitchen. And you can see that begin to loosen it up a bit. And then we're going to kind of alternate there and begin to add the rest of our flour. And then we'll begin to add the rest of our liquid again. And you can see how that kind of keeps loosening it up and allowing it to go. Right as it starts to get a little thick there, you want to add the liquid to it. And then you want to push everything back in so we get a good uniform mix. And save that. We're going to let that go. And then we're going to add a little bit of the cheese. And then the part that makes it so good, we're going to add our corn. You're just going to make sure you got lots of corn in there. It's cornbread. It's not cornmeal. I want it to be good and fresh throughout each bite. We'll just keep mixing that in, and then we're going to add the rest of our cheese in. Just going to keep adding that through. And then we're going to turn it off and give it one more push down so everybody gets a good uniform mix. We'll crank it up one more time on high speed. And then we're ready to bake some cornbread. Okay, so now we've got the cornbread all mixed together. The batter's all ready. We've got a nice pan we've taken, and we're just going to rub that with a little bit of Crisco so that the cornbread doesn't stick. And then we're just going to take that and just put it right into the pan. And as we get it in there, we'll sort of salt and pepper it and season it down just a little bit so it bakes evenly throughout. And it's a little thick, but it'll be nice once it's baked. So take that and put it to the side, and then we're just going to take this and kind of make sure it forms throughout nice and even all the way across. And then we're going to cover that with parchment paper. And what we'll do is we'll let this bake for about 45 minutes in a 350-degree oven. And the most important thing is that right at the end there, as you go to check it, it'll still be a little moist in the center. You want to check that with a toothpick and make sure nothing's coming out on the toothpick. But it'll still be a little soft there, and you just want to take it out of the oven, keep it covered, and allow it to steam the rest of the way. So it'll be nice and moist as we go. So we're going to take a little parchment paper, a little bit of aluminum foil, and we're going to wrap that. And then the very important part too is on the shelf just below your your cornbread there, you're going to take a nice baking sheet and set that so as the steam comes up and the butter begins to come around the edges there, it doesn't make your oven smoke up. So we'll get that in the oven for us right away. Away we go. Okay, so what we've done is we've taken it out of the oven. We've let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes with the steam coming up to kind of finish it off. You just want to make sure it's good and firm all the way through. And then you're just going to take it and give it a nice little cut. And it will break a little bit as you go along. Then we're going to cut around some squares like this. You can see all that good corn coming around it. And then we're just going to take it and stack it up nice on a plate. A good little family-style dinner for everyone. And what we like to do here at the Rattlesnake as well is we like to take the cornbread and put it on the grill. We brush it with a little butter and grill each side. So if you're going to grill it, you're going to let that kind of get more to a refrigerate it for a little bit so that it firms up and you can actually hold it on the grill. And we bake it off. And then we're going to take a little butter. We're going to spread that on there so it melts as we go along. And then we'll take a little bit of garnish. And there we are, little cornbread from Poe's Kitchen at the Rattlesnake.